dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky. This is WYMT Mountain News This Morning.
Good morning. It is 5:31 on Thursday, August the 1st. I'm Will Puckett. Thank you for tuning in to Mountain News This Morning. We're seeing some widespread fog across the region, and it's dense this morning. So Brandon will give us a breakdown of who's seeing what where. Brandon, good morning.
Good morning. And basically everyone at this point, if you're not seeing it, count yourself among the lucky ones. It's in the valleys, though, higher elevations like you see here on our camera, US 119 on top of Whitesburg Pine Mountain. Not seeing any up there. Didn't see any on Buffalo Mountain earlier, but it's out there. Trust me. Look at all these sensors showing it there. Remember, anything less than 5 miles is a dense fog, and anything less than 1 mile, which is all those numbers you see without a number in front of the decimal point, is a very, very limited visibility. So just kind of keep that in mind as you travel going into the afternoon hours today, or the late morning hours today. Temperatures in the 60s, heading for the 80s this afternoon there. Dew points up as well. You can see on the day planner, though, about 85 to forecast high later on this afternoon. Full forecast on the way here in just a few minutes. Will?
All righty, Brandon, thank you. Well, a Southern Kentucky deputy sheriff says he has a long way to recover from a gunshot wound, but he's vowing to come back strong. Tyler Watkins was shot when responding to a call in McCreary County last month. Police say he was nearly killed when he was hit by 2 rounds. The suspect is in jail, charged with attempted murder. WYMT's Phil Pendleton talked with the deputy about the incident.
I remember in the mix of everything,
Tyler Watkins says it was simply a status check that went horribly wrong when he says he approached Mark Dungan and told him 3 times to get out of his car.
And about the 4th time of me having to order him to get out of the vehicle was whenever he got mad, and that's when he pulled a firearm out on me, and that's when the fight started.
One round hit him in the vest, the other just below the waist. He would spend several days in the hospital and has up to 3 months recovery at home.
I'm ready to go back.
Yeah.
I fought so hard to be a sheriff's deputy, and it's not going, this bullet in my gut to pass through, it's not going to keep me out of the game. So
Tyler Watkins says the amount of support he's received has been overwhelming and amazing. He says it's come from the city of Knoxville, this community, the state of Kentucky, and beyond.
My best wishes go out to Deputy Watkins.
Majority Leader Mitch McConnell even mentioned Watkins on the U.S. Senate floor.
That meant a lot. Which I mean, it's sad that he had to mention me in that sort of way, but it was a true honor.
He says what happened to him sends a strong message to all law enforcement everywhere.
You have to, when you're in law enforcement, if you don't treat every day like you could potentially die that day, then you don't need to be in law enforcement.
In McCreary County, Phil Pendleton, WYMT Mountain News.
The suspect in the shooting faces attempted murder and multiple other charges. A McCreary County grand jury will consider an indictment at their next meeting. The kickoff and opening ceremony for Operation Coal Country Medical Mission was held yesterday at Eastern Kentucky University's Manchester campus. The mission to provide no-cost medical services and resources in 4 counties across Eastern Kentucky. The ceremony included more than 150 military personnel. The Army, Air Force, and Navy will use this as training to prepare for future deployments.
This operation pretty much brings on the best of the best. We really want our most elite and experienced folks to be out here servicing the community. And it's a great opportunity for us to, of course, engage in training for our readiness capabilities.
The clinics will begin August 3rd and go through August 10th. The 4 counties served are Clay, Knox, Jackson, and Leslie. Assistance will be provided on a first-come, first-served basis. We have details, times, and locations on our website. Well, the Pineville Hospital auction ends today, and the city of Pineville is now in the mix. In an emergency called meeting on Wednesday, Mayor Scott Maiden says while the city was hoping to get out of the hospital business, they are once again stepping in by adding a bid for the auction of the Pineville Community Hospital. One of the biggest concerns was that the internal assets were possibly in jeopardy in the eyes of the city council. City council members say they are fighting to make sure they protect the hospital.
The hospital's been a asset to the city for decades, and the city of Pineville, the council, we're going to try to do everything that we can to make sure that it's still here.
The auction ends this evening at 5. Well, the latest Shaping Our Appalachian Region, or SOAR Summit, is coming up September 5th and 6th at the Appalachian Wireless Arena in Pineville. We learned yesterday that a decorated military aviator, General Dan Rooney, will be the keynote speaker.
He is the founder of a charity called Folds of Honor. He's an entrepreneur and just a top flight guy. And we're excited to have him kind of share his story, an inspirational story, and kind of how to capture opportunities as they come your way.
Congressman Hal Rogers, Governor Matt Bevin, and University of Kentucky President Eli Capilouto are also expected to speak. You can learn more about the summit and the work SOAR is doing from Executive Director Jared Arnett Monday night at 7 on Issues and Answers. Well, the University of Kentucky is now notifying some students about changes to housing assignments. Tuesday night, dozens of students were sent emails telling them they would be assigned to live in a former hotel. UK officials say the shortage is a combination of a record freshman enrollment and a high retention rate. 62 Bluegrass Community and Technical College students who live on campus will be moved into the University Inn. UK bought the former hotel at the corner of Waller and South Limestone a couple of years ago. It has been vacant, but now it is being converted into a dorm for the BCTC students. Those students will receive a discount on their room fee as well as a $200 bonus to their student account. Yesterday was National Heat Stroke Prevention Day, and this highlights a major issue across the nation: hot car deaths. So far this year, more than 20 children have died as a result of being left in cars. Within the past week alone, there have been 3 deaths. A 2-year-old boy was left in a van outside of a daycare in Florida Monday. And in New York, a father is facing charges in the death of his infant twins who spent more than 8 hours in the heat. Hillary Thornton has more.
And people say, oh, it could never happen to me.
Dr. Susan Pollack is talking about the tragedy that played out a record 52 times last year across the nation. 3 of those deaths happening here in Kentucky. Thankfully, this year, the state's statistic currently reads 0.
We have had a lot of people passing out in cars on drugs and with their children in the back seat. And we've had a lot of saves because bystanders have seen the children and called 911.
That scene just this week in Louisville. The infant rushed to a local hospital. Also happening this week in the national headlines, adults allegedly forgetting a child is in the vehicle.
It's just so sad because most of the people whose children are forgotten en route to daycare did not intend for that to happen.
Dr. Pollack says adding to that pain is that they are all preventable. She says over half of the children killed due to being in hot cars could have been saved by one phone call.
It works like this. When you go to a child care center, you and your child care center talk together and you agree that you won't just not show up without calling them. They agree that if you don't come when you're normally there, they'll call you.
Dr. Pollack says these tragic accidents have also happened when children are simply playing inside of vehicles.
It's a good idea to lock your car so that your child doesn't get in and play in it.
Other scenarios include people intentionally leaving children in cars, a lot of times to shop. That is what 11-month-old Brian Puckett's babysitter did 2 decades ago. That incident prompting the state legislature to pass Brian's Law.
Because of that law, we have better protections in our state, but the idea is to not ever need the law.
In Lexington, Hillary Thornton, WKYT.
It's simple. Always look before you lock. It could save a life. Now, officials in Floyd County have called off the search for a possible drowning victim. Authorities say they have a reason to believe Tony Wright is actually safe. Around noon Wednesday, Floyd County EMS got a call that someone may have fallen into the Leviza Fork of the Big Sandy River in Harold. Crew said if needed, they will resume the search. Well, the new Martin County High School is almost ready for students. Formerly known as Sheldon Clark High School, this $32 million project is years in the making. WIMT's Marianne Fletcher met up with the superintendent for a tour of the new school.
Years of hard work.
It's been a blur this summer. We've not stopped. Our contractors have not stopped.
Finally paying off as the new Martin County High School is ready for classes.
Finally, it's been what, 6 years, I think, since we've been out of the old high school.
Superintendent Larry James says this school has multiple wow factors.
The gym is one of them. Then inside we have the gymnasium,
equipped with seating for around 2,200 fans.
Our former Sheldon Clark High School, that was one of the things that the community loved.
Not to mention one room the old high school did not have.
Here it is. Holds about 475 seats.
The auditorium will be a place for plays, guest speakers, or band concerts. Plus,
Outdoor classroom, that's another wow factor.
And a break area.
Student lobby is going to be a very popular place, I think, for our kids. Might be too popular. They may not want to leave there, go to class.
James says another thing he is excited about is the community bond a school like this brings.
Small counties, maybe more so than others, the high school is where you go to ball games, not just to see the sporting event, but you see, meet family and friends.
Making new memories in a new high school in Martin County. Marianne Fletcher, WYMT Mountain News.
The ribbon cutting ceremony for the new Martin County High School will be tomorrow afternoon at 1. An elementary school in Knott County is trying to help fill the needs of not only students but also their families. A giveaway hosted by the Family Resource Youth Center at Emelina Elementary provided families with clothes and household goods. Helena Lewis, the Family Resource Coordinator for the school, says she was unsure how that turnout would be, but ended up having 50 to 60 people come to the event yesterday.
I had just wanted to do this on the whim and see what I could get accomplished, and I'm kind of proud of it. I thought, well, had 4 huge rows, they were piled, stacked high. They've cleaned me out about it.
They are still collecting school supplies and non-perishable food donations. Those items can be dropped off at the school. Coming up, the Woodstock 50th Anniversary Music Festival was canceled again. We'll have more on why in just a few.
Fog is a big issue for most folks this morning, so take it easy out there. I'll have the forecast for the rest of the week in about 3 minutes.